will be knocking the doors for a voluntary or creditors voluntary winding up. So we have got to see the reality of the situation, that things cannot just be developed in isolation. Whether the society in itself is mentally prepared and whether there is an enabling environment or not. Now there is one view. I remember when the Supreme Court case was going on the subject of riba, there were certain presentations which were made before the Supreme Court at that time, that how can we start Islamic banking if the desired level of integrity is not there in the society? I personally would feel that if you were to wait for that, the only thing next that is going to happen is Qiyamah. Because at any point of time, you cannot expect that everybody would be having the same level of probity and integrity and trust and everything done in the right manner. So you have got to start and make a beginning somewhere. Islamic banks have done a robust beginning in that context, and from this perspective I would say, yes, it has been a success. But it's a long way to go. We can't be complacent about it. And they have got to have, I don't think any Islamic bank in Pakistan, forgive my ignorance if I'm not aware of any, they do not have an agenda for a very organized, structured framework of social responsibility. They may be doing it unconsciously, informally. They might be conscious of undertaking a certain task or a function or an activity which caters to the dictates of social responsibility. But I don't think there is a framework which any Islamic bank in Pakistan has consciously adopted. As you know, in corporate social responsibility in the secular context, now there is a move towards a report on corporate social responsibility along with the annual report. The day Islamic banks start adopting a framework where social responsibility is adopted as a conscious activity and as a conscious agenda, I think then you would say that yes, they have taken on this responsibility in a rather deliberate manner and in a focused manner.
Thank you. I think let me just pick out again Zishan on this question. I think one of the real challenges that we see around us is Bill Gates. Let's just look at his example. Made $50 billion, and now that is going into charity and into social work and everything that is about social responsibility. That's where he's spending the money. So do the banks have to first make that money and then have a mindset to spend it for social causes, or it's a bit of a horse and cart situation? So let me ask Zishan, coming in from an academic background and thinking this through, how important it is that as we proceed on and we see Islamic financial institutions growing, do they first have to become robust and strong, create wealth and then distribute that, or do they need to first, because in any case, I think this is a question that I'm sure will be haunting many people. At what point in time, first they have to make money to spend money. So making money itself makes them a target of someone who has become more like a capitalistic institution. So where do you really draw the line? So if Zishan can throw some light on this.
It's a very difficult question because primarily it depends on individual cases, but the teaching of Islam is basically that it's basically the other way around. You spend first, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises you that you get 10 at least on the $1 that you've spent. So here, unless you build that culture, you build that spirit, you build that belief, you build that theme in the organization, in Islamic financial institution, Islamic based organizations right from the beginning, it's very difficult if you're going to say that, well, we'll look into it once we reach that, we break that threshold, only then we would establish a trust which would take care of the needy and poor. Alhamdulillah, what I have seen, there are a couple of hopes that we have, or even more hopes that I can point out too. There are a couple of banks locally who have established their trust, which are helping out for educational loans and health-based loans. Jordan Islamic Bank is one example where they have established a a trust which is helping the needy and the poor and all that. So there are examples, and there's one thing which gives me conviction that hopefully, inshallah, in the long run, these banks, as they grow stronger and they clearly realize their role in an Islamic society, they would be moving towards this charitable and socially responsible stance more and more. And the factors are that, number one, there again, which I've pointed out earlier on, that we don't treat Islamic banks as any regular organization. We have different expectations from them. If the same thing is being done by a conventional bank, we might not complain, grumble. But if the same thing we see coming from Islamic bank, we say you put the name of Islam with you and you're doing this. This is our mentality. So they have this pressure from the society all the time. That's one thing. The second thing, being at LUMS, I'm seeing a change. I'm seeing that, even at IB I had seen it, and at LUMS I'm seeing it these days, that the new generation, unlike, even when I was graduating, I had very, very little sense of what is Islamic, what is not Islamic, what is socially responsible, what is ethical, very little sense of that. But now, the university curricula, they are including this ethics, leadership, social responsibility, the Islamic side of it, deliberately in their curriculum. And there's a certain, shift in the aspirations of the students. I mean, when I was graduating, the only thing we would judge each other by would be, what is your take home, how much you are earning, which multinational you're working in. But I'm seeing a change. I'm constantly counseling the students, very bright people. They're going to financial sector, they're going to marketing, they're going to FMCGs. But they're always keep asking about, what is this Sharia side of it, sir? Is it ethical? Is it socially responsible? Should I go and join a tobacco company? Is it halal for me? And from many bright students. And I can see that those who are joining Islamic banks, they have, superior moral values than those who won't even ask that question. So the hope that I'm counting on is that in future, when these people are in the driving seats of these institutions, I hope and I pray that they would be leading these organizations towards a more socially responsible stance, inshallah.
Thank you very much. I'd like to really personally thank Mr. Ibrahim Sidat to be here as a panelist and for sharing his thoughts. As always, he's passionate. He knows what he's talking about, and we clearly, it's always a learning experience. Thank you, Dr. Zishan, for your thoughts and for finishing on a very positive note. I think, if you look at statistics, and there are statistics all over the place, you find that among many things that Pakistan is infamous for, there are certain things in which Pakistanis are also good. And one of the things is that as a percentage of income that they spend for charity, it's among the highest in the world. So average Pakistani would be spending as a percentage of his income in charity. They are among the top 5 nations of the world. Number one. Number two, the largest number of NGOs that is working in anywhere in the world, Pakistan happens to be one of them. And I think you see the example of this in Shaukat Khanum Hospital, to Aman now being set up over here, to the Cheepas of this world, and many organizations that are there. So it's a great opportunity. I think when you look at coming to Pakistan, if you have a desire to do something good, and I think Pakistanis by and large have a huge, they have a very big heart. You go to a mosque and you see someone begging outside, and so the person, even if it's your driver, he will take a small amount and give it out to him, although his income is also very, very small, but nevertheless he still believes in sharing. So from that, I think we are living in a country where people want to share, where people are really looking forward towards fulfilling their role in the social responsibility and ensuring that other people are benefiting from it. I think what we really need to do is reinforce this. We need to talk about this. We need to think about the positive things that are there. And alhamdulillah, even the financial institutions that we see, even the Islamic financial institutions, I think, as Ibrahim Sidat had said, that they also need to come out with a clear policy to state that we as an Islamic institution are going to undertake this project, and we would try and fulfill that, whatever that may be, in form of educating people or in form of poverty abolition. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, to be very patient, to listen to what we talked about. Now, if you have any questions, I'm not so sure how much time we have, but do we?